Hopefully you guys are doing well. Welcome back to a trade recap. I'm up $8,000 today, currently in San Diego, California. I'm on this beautiful rooftop. Well, I don't know what that guy's doing. Anyway, let's dive into the charts. A lot to go over, not a lot, but I want to really dive in and talk about the trades that I took. I took 3 wins and 1 loss. One of them was a major trade and the other ones were kind of a little bit of a scalps, but we'll go over it, and so let's jump in. First of all, we'll just show you the executions and then we'll clear the chart and actually dive into each one of these trades. So let's clear it up and let's get into it. So the first thing I want to clear up before going into this is my bias from yesterday, because last night really was going to hinder what I was looking at this morning, depending on what happens in the overnight session. Because sometimes you'll come into the market and you'll have a plan the night before, but you're not sure of what's actually going to go happen in the overnight session. So the overnight session, what I was bullish and wanted to see this high become the draw. When I woke up this morning, that high had already been taken. So I want to rewind price here, because the trade that I actually took in the morning was pre-market. So what ended up happening here, we're going to go to right here. So what's the bias for this? Well, what ends up happening? High gets taken to the left of us, right? My initial draw on liquidity was bullish, and now we've taken that high. There's a big imbalance to the left of us, but keep in mind, this is still pretty zoomed in, right? I'm not very bearish. I'm not like, oh my God, we're going to dump all the way back down. But the first thing the reason why I took this setup was actually the CRT candle, because high here to the left of us ends up getting taken. And if you guys don't know what CRT is, it's basically just candle range theory. And a lot of it, I've been using it a lot recently for confirmations of the shorts and of the setups I would normally be taking, and it's actually been helping me out a lot for extra confirmation. So what it's basically is as you can see, the second candle, it's a 3 candle formation, 1, 2, and this candle ends up closing inside of the range of the recent high. And so what this normally means is I would want to expect back to equilibrium of this candle range, and also back to the opposing liquidity of this candle, which is this low. So now all I'm doing is I'm waiting for the internal structure here to provide me with a high quality short. Now, I ended up waiting, ended up watching, and at this point in time, right here on this leg up, ES ends up taking this recent high. So we have an SMT in place, right? NQ fails to move higher and to take that recent high. So once NQ puts this SMT in, I zoom into the 1 minute and I'm looking for, again, my model, which is just a change in the state, pull back to a fair value gap. I'm waiting, and there we go. SMT gets put in. We have our change in the state. Again, series of down close candles, and we have a fair value gap. We pull back into the fair value gap right here. I take my short with 4 cons, and I put my stop at this protected high. Now this is fantastic risk. Now how am I actually managing this trade? Because I'm confident we go to equilibrium. I'm not super confident that we go to this recent low, but there's definitely a reason for us to, so I'm going to leave runners on. So what I basically did and how I manage this trade is based off the conviction in which I want to see is I'm always going to be focusing on taking low-hanging fruit, right? What am I actually confident with? What is the whole reason I'm entering this setup? Why am I actually confident in taking it in the first place? And the reason I took it was because of this 1 hour change in the state. So equilibrium of this candle is my first target to scale, right? So I mark out equilibrium of the candle, and that's right there. What happens? Pull back to change in the state. We end up selling off, and I end up scaling. Now, at this point in time, I did not realize that the low ended up getting taken, because this low right here was my draw on liquidity, and this is what led to my next loss. We pull back to this 1 minute fair value gap, and on a lower time frame, I'm looking for this 1 minute to reject and to roll back over to go take these equal lows, because I'm looking at this saying, okay, this is equal lows, when in reality, this actually ended up getting taken, and we actually put it in SMT that's bullish. So order flow on the bigger time frame is bullish, right? Everything we've been looking at is bullish, and now that we pull back to the bigger time frame imbalance here, this big fair value gap is still holding bullish as well. This is most likely going to continue back higher in relationship to the bigger time frame model. So once that low gets taken, we put it in SMT, which I wasn't aware of. I was still looking to see a move lower, so I took a short on the lower time frame. Right after this fair value gap ended up getting tapped. So we ended up pulling all the way back. Fair value gap here gets tapped. Recent high to the left of us gets taken. I entered a short position here with stop at this recent high. Now, once this ended up getting, actually this was not this, it was more so this fill. Now, once I realized that this low had already been taken and we were starting to build price to the upside here, I would have wanted to see more expansion to the downside, especially if that was where we were drawing towards. And once I realized that I wasn't, I took this off for I think like a $500 or $600 loss after this initial trade was like a 5K, 6K win. So I ended up taking this off for a loss once I realized, hey, that low actually got taken. There's no reason for me to try to squeeze out a little bit extra. Now, what I did do now is once that I realized that low was taken, my bias is bullish going into open. I'd want to see price probably revert back higher, but I need to see something happen first. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up taking a scalp, and if I held the scalp, it would be a really, really, really big day. But what ended up happening is this recent high on the 1 minute is where I wanted to see price go, because we ended up coming back down, respecting consequent encroachment of the wick to the left of us. And if I zoomed in, you'll see this 15-second fair value gap here. Now, if I'm bearish, and this is why I took this trade, and this is kind of how my brain works, is if I'm bearish, the model in which I'm looking to play out, right? If the market is drawing towards those equal lows or relative equal lows, right? This fair value gap that gets created to the downside, right? Because we've taken the recent high, we pull back to the fair value gap again, and then we displace and we create a fair value gap, right? Notice this entire price action here, there's no fair value gap to the downside. Now that there is a fair value gap to the downside, if the market respects it, it's obviously showing that order flow is bearish, we want to go lower, right? But if we run through it, order flow is bullish, we go higher. Because we're watching for the reaction of imbalances. We're watching price action to show us what it wants to do. We're not taking a guess. Price action is showing us. If we hold bearish imbalances and we continue to respect them and it feels like we're failing to hold and we just run through them, all of these things tells us and gives us confluence. So right when I saw that 15-second fair value gap break, I entered in long for a scalp just to this recent high. Now, looking back, was this a great trade? Not by any means. Was it a great trade? Was it a good trade? Yeah, it was a good trade. It was confident. Fair value gap ran through. I was confident the high get taken. Our R was a little bit shanky. It was like 1.5, 1.1, which isn't bad if you have good risk, or not good risk, but just overall good confidence and strategy with your win rate. So this is totally fine. This trade pretty much just ended up making back the little scalp loss that I took here as I traded this with lower cons. Now, the reason I didn't hold this fully is because I wasn't planning on really taking this, and I kind of wanted to. I didn't have a lot of confidence that we were going all the way back higher yet, so I just wanted to take it off, let it do its thing, and let the market go. Now, the last trade that I ended up taking today was actually. Let me actually turn my executions on so I can find it and make sure I know where it is. Now, let me get out of replay here. Here we go. So I ended up taking a short, and you're probably looking at this, and you're probably looking at this saying, Justin, there's literally no model here. But I'm going to explain to you why there is. Now, there is no clean model here, but there is a chance in a trade to rebalance price, and I will show you what it is. Zoom out. Let me take these executions off. One hour imbalance opened up. Hold up. Let me clear all these drawings here for the morning. If I'm looking at the 5 minute, 5 minute, same thing. CRT candle. Let me replay price. 5 minute gets put in place. What is also putting in place on a bigger time frame? The bigger time frame imbalance, which hasn't opened up yet, which is why I'm not entered at this point in time. So what I'm watching is to see us continue to respect this area. And what do I mean by this area? I'm continuing to respect this CRT. What happens is we end up putting it in. Oh, I actually skipped ahead. Come on. Sorry. What happens is here we go. The 15-minute candle opens, and there's a 15-minute fair value gap that gets put in place. What are the reasons why markets move? Hunt liquidity, rebalance to inefficiencies, rebalance to equilibrium, generate liquidity, rebalance to inefficiencies, right? So I know the market is going to rebalance to inefficiencies. What's going to tell me the market is going to rebalance to inefficiencies? Manipulation, CRT, changing the state, inverse fair value gaps, all of these things are how we view how the market operates. Now, once that candle gets put in and we fail to lack above this, I know that the market is mostly just going to rebalance. Now, it doesn't mean I think we're going to absolutely dump, but I don't need us to absolutely dump for me to make money. I just need to have a confident rebalance. So once I see us continuing to hold here and the 15-minute candle opens, because keep in mind, the 15-minute candle did not look like what it is here. We had to come back down, tap this first, which was bearish, and then we ended up having that move higher. So I waited for this continuation to hold below this high getting taken because I was confident we were going to see a rebalance to the fair value gap, and I wasn't targeting any lower or any higher, right? Or any lower, not higher because it was a short. So I took what was given, what the market showed me, and honestly, the rest of the day, there's really not anything else that I would be looking to take. Again, it's a no news Monday. A little bit of slower price action now that we're in the afternoon, but morning ended up playing out beautifully. I think this was a solid start to the week. I'm up 8K on the Monday. And hopefully you guys got something out of this little recap. Wanted to come on here again, start posting as much of these as possible for you guys so you can start getting more out of this and continuing to kind of watch me on my trading journey and my kind of scaling process throughout this year, because I do plan on scaling a lot this year. I want you guys to be seeing a lot bigger numbers from me and everything that I'm doing, and I'm excited to bring you guys along the journey for it and continuing to help you guys out as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see me live trade, I live trade every single day in our group. Our mentorship students are absolutely eating right now. The amount of testimonials, the amount of people that have come in, I have seen people come in that have worked with other people, worked with other mentors, have watched countless YouTube videos, have literally traded for years and were unsuccessful. And I was able to make them profitable, get funded, and get a payout within a couple months, if not a 1 month. So I'm super, super proud of the community that we've been building. If you want to actually be a part of a great community, somebody in a group that cares about you, who wants to see you succeed, who has the knowledge base to do so, click the link in the description. Come join Tactical Traders, watch me live trade, get access to our educational content, and really change your life. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.